Hey guys, Andy here. So I like doing reviews of dash cams. I like doing reviews of Xiaomi cheap Chinese imports. So when I realised that Xiaomi did a dash cam, a specific dash cam, I thought I need to check that out. So I ordered this one. It's just called the Xiaomi Yi, and I have done a Yi video before, but that was like an action cam. So this is specifically a dash cam. I got it from dealextremedx.com. If you go there and search Xiaomi Yi, you will see, well, at the time of recording, it's £40 and 42 pence, which seemed reasonably good price for something to give it a whirl. So let's take a look. The box is it's quite nicely presented. Xiaomi, they tend to do quite a good job with their presentation and almost minimalistic, although the big red strap around it kind of takes away from that. It's just a sort of thickish paper. I could have just ripped it off, but because I'll probably sell this on when I'm done reviewing, I don't want to damage it in any way. The camera was actually kind of bigger than I was expecting it to be. I mean, it's not huge by any means. I just thought it would be a little bit smaller. 4 buttons on the back. So here we have instructions. There are some in English. There's not really a need for them. We don't particularly need to worry about that. Inside the box we also have the cigarette lighter power with 2 USB ports. I quite like that, so if you do need to be charging your phone and things, it allows for that. Quite a long micro USB cable, and of course the actual clip that is going to stick it to your screen. So it is stuck, it's not suction mount or anything like that. It clips into place. I did find sometimes it was a bit hard to take this clip back off again, but it was never too hard, just could be a little tricky, especially when the device is stuck to your windscreen. So we put it into place and then tighten the screw. That should be roughly what I'll need. Obviously it's easily adjustable afterwards. Takes a micro SD card slot in the one side and the power is on the other. Let's remove the plastic cover. It's quite a big screen at the back actually. Not that I'm not actually one to use screens, but so I know a lot of people like them. When you first turn it on, it showed me a QR code I could scan, which would basically lead me to the app to be installed. But obviously, you could just search for Yi Dashcam in the Play Store. I also had a couple of times where I wouldn't connect properly, and I had to just manually go into the Wi-Fi and connect. If you have to do that, the password is 123456789, just all your number row. Then it should connect to the device once you're connected via Wi-Fi. And we just wait here while it connects in. There we go, so it doesn't take too long. And then as you can see, the app does display, hello, the app does display what we're looking at. So if we go to the SD card, I have actually been using the camera at the point of using this app to show you. I thought I'd use it a bit so we can at least see some of the footage, and this is from, well, just now I suppose, really, just to show you can manage the files from the app should you wish. Delete them remotely, and obviously we can watch the footage on the phone. It seems to stream quite well, quite quick if my phone wouldn't keep rotating it. We're going to look at the footage in a lot more detail when I've finished looking through the app and the device itself, but it's good to know that actually it works very well just connecting in to the device, because what you don't really want to have to do is to keep disconnecting it and bringing it inside or taking the memory card out. It's quite handy if you can just operate it through the device. If we go to the actual settings, it's a relatively simple dash cam, I think. I mean, to me they should be. Why would it need to be complicated? It's worth turning the watermark off. There's quite a big ugly pink logo in the corner you'll see when we watch some of the footage. You can see some of the other basic settings in there. I turned obviously the intelligent driving assistant as well, because that would keep throwing up these really odd looking, or it keep beeping as I was driving along and throwing up these error messages which I couldn't quite understand, if I'm honest. And it would do them every kind of almost 30 seconds. It was really quite annoying. Anyway, back to the device itself, just to show you that we can change a lot of the settings without that need of the app, using the 2 middle buttons to go back and forward and the sort of power button to select different options. I think that's a screen timeout. There's the intelligent driving whatever aid that I just did not like at all. Wi-Fi, SD. So again, it's a little tricky because there is no language setting. So that is the big downside. There's no way of turning it over to English. I don't know if that might come in the future with a firmware update, but just bear it in mind. For me, I wasn't all that bothered because I just want something that's going to record footage that I can get off again if I need it, and it does that very well. You can see here that we can look through the files, we can delete them should we want to. Apart from the ones that have the pink MP4 logo, when I come back out you might notice them. I think they're locked for some reason. You can delete them in the app, I believe, but not in the device itself. And again, you can watch the footage back. It's got a speaker as well. It's not a great speaker, but you can kind of hear what's going on in the footage at the same time. It's also perhaps worth noting, if you plug the power into a USB, you can't get into the actual sort of controls. I think it's there saying that it's basically being used as a file server to the computer, so you could directly take the files off of the Dashcam.
Natural language understanding and automatic speech recognition locally. Most devices, the Echo Plus remains $149 and will ship today in every country Alexa is already in. And an all-new Echo Show, completely redesigned with the fabric design of its kin, 2 speakers now, and a larger display.
So I left a little bit of the audio going there. I think that actually the microphone is quite good for a Dashcam. You can hear it quite clearly. That's my podcast player, and obviously the growl of my V8, which is always nice to listen to. One thing that I always like to check on a Dashcam, we're going to hit a freeze frame in a second just to check if we can read a license plate, which I think we can. So that to me suggests that actually the camera quality is pretty good on this £40 Dashcam. You don't get that from all Dashcams, and to an extent I don't think you need to. For me, a Dashcam is more about being able to just show whose fault an accident was. You're not usually trying to identify a vehicle using the Dashcam. It is more about showing that, I don't know, someone pulled across you, or that you were driving sensibly and they caused the accident, or whatever it might be. You might also be able to hear in the background, those are the advanced driving system warnings, and they do get quite annoying because hopefully, as you can hear, they happen quite a lot. So actually I'm going to take the audio out. I did turn them off, I think probably after this journey. I thought, oh my god, they're annoying. So I did turn them off. We switched conditions a little bit to not such a bright day. But again, I generally think the image quality looks very good. The detail is quite good. These are obviously not as good conditions as the last clip, but you look at the colours, the nice bright red BMW there, the hoardings over on the right hand side. It all looks, I think, pretty good for a £40 Dashcam. I think you could spend a lot more and get a lot worse an image. So generally, I would say that is pretty good. We're going to change conditions once again, and we're going to go into the night time. It's not even that it's getting dark. This is actual night time. You can see obviously it does have the time and date stamp, which I think we saw we could turn off in the app if you wanted to do so. You might also, well, you probably already noticed, but the big Yi logo in the top left corner. I don't really know why you would want to have that there. I'm not quite sure why they thought that was a good idea, but as we've seen, you can turn that off in the app, so it's not really an issue in any way at all. There's a slightly weird effect on the lights, as you see kind of at the top of the image, just because it's going through the sticker on my windscreen, so it's nothing to do with the camera, that you get that kind of speckled look almost. But I think that quality is really good, and this is in probably the darkest point of my my journey home. I don't have a long commute, so there's not too much varied imagery to show you, but it's darker than it looks. all I can say is that's actually a very good image for how dark this bit of road is, because my headlights are not particularly bright, and those lights that we're seeing are not really that bright, and it does do a very good job of showing a half decent image. So I mean, at that point here we can see it is quite dark all around, kind of the edges and the tops and things, but it is pitch black out there at this point. It is just the headlights and the street lights that are illuminating things. So I think that is pretty impressive. Well, it's not even low light, is it? As I say, it is just dark footage. I think for the £40, and I guess the issue you have then for the £40 is that we haven't got anything in English. None of the voice commands or prompts are coming out in English. The app isn't in English. The warnings that we see if you operate the device manually are not in English. But again, if all you want is a dash cam that's going to come on when you turn the ignition on, well, I guess when it gets power, I should say, because if you happen to have like always on power through your cigarette lighter, that's not going to work. But if all you want is that it'll come on with the power, it'll record you some good footage, it'll actually even get good audio as well, and that it's easily accessible afterwards, I don't think you can go far wrong for £40 for this Xiaomi Yi Dashcam. I mean, that's a good image. We're getting a bit of glare off my dashboard. You might be able to find some kind of like polarizing filter which would help with that. I've not looked, if I'm honest. There might be something out there, and that would help with the glare. This was actually a particularly bright day, so it's kind of understandable. But again, the main thing is that you can see what's happening, and it's got a good wide-angle lens. You can pretty much see the corners of both sides of my dashboard. The left one, not maybe there's a few centimeters missing, but that's a good wide-angle view. It's a good quality image. It's nice and steady, it's nice and stable, it's good colours, it's nice and crisp. I'm really impressed for £40. I'm really impressed. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think it's worth £40? Would the fact that it's not in English in any way put you off? Drop us a comment. But for now, my name's Andy, and I'll catch you all again soon. Well done, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you might want to click the little fellow that should hopefully appear about here to subscribe. You may also want to check out some of my other videos, which are going to appear somewhere there. Also, come and have a look at my website, androidandy.uk. There is also a forum. Come and say hello on the forum if you've got any questions about things, or request me to review things, or anything else. Just come and have a chat on the forum.